What you're about to see is the U.S. Air Force's most powerful jet ever, and it just shocked the world. After years of strategic buildup, cutting-edge research, and persistent warnings about the rising threat posed by China's latest generation of stealth fighter jets, the U.S. Air Force has finally drawn a line in the sky and crossed it with a vengeance. In a move that has electrified military analysts and rattled adversaries across the globe, the United States has officially unveiled a next-generation combat aircraft, a technological marvel designed not just a match, but to completely overwhelm China's newest jets, including the much-hyped J-20 Mighty Dragon and the recently showcased J-35 stealth fighter. The world now stands witness to the dawn of a new aerial arms race. Except this time, the U.S. didn't come to compete. It came to dominate. The Pentagon has kept most details of this aircraft under tight wraps for months, but trusted insiders and high-level briefings now confirm that this new warbird combines sixth-generation capabilities, unrivaled stealth, artificial intelligence integration, and a weapons payload capacity that can only be described as fearsome. In a demonstration exercise over the Nevada Test and Training Range, U.S. pilots pushed the aircraft to its limits, performing complex maneuvers that defied radar detection and outpaced anything China's fleet could respond to. With speeds exceeding Mach 2.8 and a radar cross-section smaller than a marble, the jet vanishes into the sky just moments after takeoff, reappearing only when it wants to be seen, often already behind enemy lines in simulated scenarios. China's recent military parades have showcased an increasingly aggressive air strategy, leaning heavily on their twin-engine stealth designs and expanded carrier-based operations. But what they didn't anticipate was the U.S. Air Force jumping the tech curve and introducing a fighter that's not only more elusive, but also far more intelligent. This new American jet isn't just fast and silent. It thinks. Equipped with AI-assisted targeting, predictive threat analysis, and drone swarm coordination, this aircraft operates like a war-fighting supercomputer in the sky. Its onboard systems analyze enemy patterns in real time, recalibrate engagement protocols mid-mission, and offer pilots a level of situational awareness that seems almost sci-fi. And the message it sends is unambiguous. The skies belong to America. When Chinese generals first caught wind of this development, there was initial skepticism. They believed their stealth fleet, particularly the J-20's long-range missile capabilities and radar jamming systems, gave them the upper hand in the Pacific theater. But those assumptions are now crumbling. In mock dogfights conducted by U.S. Air Force aggressive squadrons, this new aircraft has consistently killed adversaries before they even knew it was there. In one particularly jaw-dropping simulation, the jet infiltrated a hostile airspace defended by a network of S-400 and HQ-9 surface-to-air missiles, systems considered among the most sophisticated in the world. It completed its objective, took out key command nodes, and exfiltrated without a scratch or a radar ping. That kind of ghost-like precision isn't just impressive. It's game-changing. Back home, the buzz around the new aircraft has ignited pride and patriotism. Veterans, engineers, and warfighters see it as a symbol of American resilience and innovation, a reminder that even in an age of growing threats and global uncertainty, the U.S. still leads from the front. Meanwhile, military think tanks are already reassessing battlefield doctrines and rewriting air superiority strategies based on the jet's unprecedented versatility. Its modular weapons bays allow for real-time mission adaptation, from long-range precision strikes to close-air support and electronic warfare, without requiring a return to base. In essence, it can change its role on the fly. International allies have expressed awe, with NATO commanders requesting demonstrations and joint training missions to better understand how this aircraft fits into combined force operations. Israel, the UK, Australia, and Japan have all shown interest in procurement or cooperative development. The timing couldn't be more crucial. With China escalating patrols around Taiwan, intensifying activities in the South China Sea, and expanding influence into Africa and the Arctic, the geopolitical pressure is mounting. But the introduction of this aircraft effectively shifts the chessboard. Beijing must now reconsider any moves that risk air confrontation with the United States. It's not just about deterrence. It's about complete aerial superiority. Beyond its combat prowess, the jet also features a next-gen cockpit experience that's closer to a command center than a traditional flight deck. Pilots wear enhanced reality visors, engage with voice command systems, and monitor threats via 360-degree virtual interfaces. It's not just flying. It's war fighting at the speed of thought. And thanks to secure satellite networking, the aircraft shares encrypted data with other platforms, including drones, ships, and ground units in real time, transforming the battlespace into a single, cohesive battlefield brain. This level of integration means that even when outnumbered, American forces hold the advantage. Backed by the Air Force's new Agile Combat Employment Doctrine, the jet can rapidly deploy from austere bases, refuel mid-air from stealth tankers, and operate independently for extended periods. In short, it's a mobile fortress with wings. China may have the numbers, but America now has the edge, and it's razor sharp. Critics have asked whether this leap in technology is sustainable, whether the U.S. can afford to maintain superiority with defense budgets under scrutiny. But Pentagon insiders argue the opposite. This aircraft is the answer to budget concerns. By consolidating multiple mission types into one platform, reducing vulnerability to enemy strikes, and increasing the odds of mission success, this jet offers more capability per dollar than any system before it. The ripple effects go beyond the military. American defense contractors, aerospace engineers, and AI developers are all seeing a surge in innovation sparked by this project. It's triggering a national renaissance in technological excellence. High schools are launching STEM programs inspired by the aircraft. Universities are designing new curriculums in cyber defense and avionics. This plane isn't just changing warfare. It's inspiring a new generation to dream bigger, build bolder, and serve stronger. But perhaps most impressive of all is how the U.S. Air Force has achieved all this while maintaining operational secrecy. For months, satellite images, base-level rumors, and suspicious test flights teased at a dark project, something big being developed in the desert. Now we know the truth, and it's even more powerful than expected. The aircraft, rumored to be part of the NG-80 Next Generation Air Dominance program, may soon be joined by an entire family of systems. Stealth drones, electronic warfare pods, and command and control nodes, all designed to function as one. Together, they create an airborne ecosystem of dominance. While China focuses on catching up, America is building the future, and the world is watching. In conclusion, the debut of this new U.S. Air Force aircraft marks not just a shift in aerial combat. It's a declaration that despite the rise of peer adversaries, America will never surrender the high ground, that innovation, grit, and overwhelming capabilities still define the red, white, and blue. The skies are not neutral. They are guarded by the best. And now, thanks to this aircraft, they are safer than ever. So when we say the U.S. is ready to beat China's new jets, we don't just mean ready. We mean already airborne, already dominant, and already rewriting the rules of aerial warfare. The future has arrived, and it flies with stars and stripes. As the roar of America's newest jet echoes across the Pacific and rattles rival air forces, the global balance of power is visibly shifting, and nowhere is this more deeply felt than inside the high-security war rooms of Beijing. The Chinese Communist Party, which had proudly paraded its fifth-generation fighters and cyber warfare capabilities for the world to see, now finds itself staring at a sobering reality. The United States has once again moved faster, thought deeper, and struck hard in a race for next-gen air superiority. Chinese military strategists, long confident in their rapid gains through reverse engineering, satellite espionage, and aggressive research programs, are scrambling to reevaluate the capabilities of their own arsenal. The once prized J-20, whose stealth profile and long-range missile loadout had inspired fear across the Indo-Pacific, is now under scrutiny by its own designers for its limitations in adaptability and combat survivability. Meanwhile, the J-31 and the newly revealed J-35, intended as carrier-based equivalents to challenge U.S. presence near Taiwan and in the South China Sea, are beginning to look like yesterday's answer to tomorrow's question. Chinese pilots, some of the most highly trained in Asia, are being pushed into emergency simulations, trying to develop tactics to counter an opponent they cannot see, cannot jam, and cannot reliably track, America's latest airborne predator. Reports have already leaked that in war games conducted by China's own PLA Air Force, simulated encounters with U.S.-style sixth-generation jets consistently ended with total force neutralization in under 90 seconds. Those numbers are not just alarming, they're catastrophic for any nation thinking of testing U.S. airspace. This realization has triggered a technological panic inside China's Ministry of State Security, where intelligence agents are now under extreme pressure to understand the scope of America's leap. Spy satellites, digital intercepts, and foreign contacts are being activated in a frenzy to locate blueprints, prototype test logs, and supply chain vulnerabilities tied to the new aircraft. But so far, the trail remains cold. That's because the U.S. has fortified its development operations with an unprecedented level of compartmentalization and quantum-encrypted networks that render even China's most advanced cyber units powerless. For the first time in decades, America's innovation cycle is running too fast for its enemies to steal. And the implications are global. In Europe, NATO commanders are breathing a sigh of relief as they watch U.S. air superiority reassert itself amid growing Russian aggression. Already, joint exercises in Poland and the Baltics have begun integrating simulated support from the new aircraft, preparing for a future battlefield where speed, stealth, and electronic dominance dictate the outcome within minutes, not days. In Asia, partners like Japan, South Korea, and Australia are bolstering their forward bases and requesting access to training on this new system. The Philippines, under increasing threat from Chinese expansionism in the South China Sea, has offered basing rights for American forces operating the aircraft in exchange for enhanced security guarantees. The ripple effects are unmistakable. Even India, historically non-aligned and wary of foreign entanglements, is reconsidering its air strategy and quietly opening dialogues with U.S. defense liaisons to explore future joint ventures. All of this sends a crystal clear message. Where this aircraft flies, stability follows. But while the global community rallies around American innovation, the psychological impact on adversaries cannot be overstated. Russian military doctrine, still reeling from setbacks in Ukraine and facing severe economic strain, is also now grappling with the reality that its own fifth-generation platform, the Su-57 Felon, is grossly outmatched. Initial Russian propaganda lauded the Su-57's supermaneuverability and stealth, but battlefield performance and limited production runs have exposed it as a paper tiger. Now, with the U.S. fielding something that operates almost like a starfighter from science fiction, even Moscow's air generals are turning inward, admitting that they may be witnessing the death of parity in aerial warfare. In Washington, D.C., the reaction has been electric. Congressional leaders from both sides of the aisle are applauding the program's results, finally united in their belief that this aircraft is not just a piece of hardware, but a statement of American will and ingenuity. Defense funding, once the subject of political gridlock, is being accelerated with bipartisan support to expand production and ensure the new platform achieves full operational capability by year's end. The president, speaking before a joint session, hailed the aircraft as a beacon of freedom, a shield for our allies, and a thunderbolt of justice for those who threaten global peace. His words were met with thunderous applause as military families and defense workers across the nation swelled with pride. At Edwards Air Force Base, where much of the testing has occurred, there is a renewed sense of mission. Pilots selected to fly the new jet, many of them seasoned combat veterans from Iraq and Afghanistan, described the experience as like being handed the future. One pilot, a lieutenant colonel with over 2,000 flight hours, described the sensation of flying a jet as stepping into a machine that knows what you want before you do. The aircraft interface, powered by adaptive machine learning, doesn't just obey commands. It anticipates them, presenting firing solutions, escape vectors, and communication links with intuitive precision. In essence, it's not just a fighter, it's a partner in battle. But what truly sets the aircraft apart is its battlefield autonomy. In coordinated tests, the jet has been paired with stealth drone wings, autonomous aircraft capable of reconnaissance, electronic attack, or kamikaze-style strikes, controlled directly from a mother jet's interface. In one astonishing drill, a single piloted aircraft controlled 4 drones simultaneously, deploying them to disable air defenses, jam radar, and conduct targeted strikes on simulated enemy convoys. All this was done without exposing the human pilot to risk. That's the future of warfare, minimizing casualties while maximizing impact. This strategy, dubbed the Ghost Doctrine by Air Force insiders, leverages the stealth, AI, and network capabilities of the new aircraft to infiltrate and devastate enemy networks with surgical precision. Unlike traditional air superiority, which relies on brute force and attrition, this doctrine uses surgical strikes, deception, and speed to dismantle an opponent before full-scale war even begins. And the first time America deploys this aircraft in a live combat zone, whether in defense of Taiwan, in deterrence over Eastern Europe, or against rogue actors in the Middle East, the world will see that doctrine in action. The psychological power of a platform that can appear without warning, act without delay, and vanish without trace cannot be overstated. In essence, the U.S. has weaponized invisibility, and it's rewriting military psychology across the globe. The civilian world is also taking notice. Media outlets from CNN to Fox, from BBC to Al Jazeera, are running specials trying to unpack the scale and implication of what they call the most advanced war machine ever built. Defense experts, analysts, and former pilots are all echoing one truth. This aircraft changes everything. It makes current rival platforms obsolete, forces a rethink of defense postures, and establishes a technological gulf that could take decades to close, if at all. In response, China is now rushing to accelerate its own sixth-generation project, rumored to be named the JX. However, insiders suggest the program is plagued with design flaws, AI limitations, and propulsion issues. Without a decade of real-world combat experience, and with sanctions cutting off access to crucial chip technologies, Beijing's best engineers are working blind while America soars ahead. Meanwhile, U.S. allies are benefiting from trickle-down tech developed during this jet's evolution. Advanced materials, autonomous navigation systems, quantum radar, and next-gen avionics are being rolled into NATO aircraft, commercial airliners, and even NASA's new space vehicles. This is what true military innovation does. It elevates an entire nation. As American jets thunder overhead and new squadrons prepare for deployment, the message is being received loud and clear across the globe. America is not in decline. It is in ascent. And in the skies, where power is proven not by numbers but by capability, the red, white, and blue is untouchable. The jet isn't just a tool of war. It's a flying declaration of dominance, courage, and the enduring spirit of American freedom. Enemies may challenge on land and sea, but in the skies, there's only one master, one standard, and one force that writes the rules: the United States Air Force. And now, as the U.S. Air Force begins to roll this revolutionary aircraft into full-scale production, the world watches with a mixture of awe, fear, and anticipation. The hangars at secret bases in Nevada, Utah, and Alaska are no longer filled with prototypes and test rigs. They are alive with a hum of operational squadrons, engineers running final diagnostics, and seasoned pilots preparing to take the controls of a machine that represents the pinnacle of aerospace combat engineering. It is not just a jet. It is a crystallization of every lesson learned from every dogfight, every bombing run, every radar ping, and every mistake the U.S. has ever made in the air since the birth of powered flight. It is a product of necessity, shaped by adversaries who thought America was fading, and it is now the ultimate answer to every threat that dares rise from the east or beyond. The naming ceremony, held in classified quarters with only the highest-ranking officials and test pilots present, dubbed the FXX Reaperhawk, a title meant to strike psychological terror into the hearts of enemy commanders while honoring the silent warriors who made it possible. Unlike the F-22 Raptor or the F-35 Lightning II, the Reaperhawk isn't just a generation ahead. It's a battlefield dimension apart. It doesn't play by the rules of stealth. It bends them. It doesn't evade radar. It dances through its blind spots. It doesn't engage targets. It erases them before they realize they're in a fight. Its kill chain, from target detection to weapon deployment, operates in microseconds. By the time enemy systems even register a signal, it's already gone. That kind of dominance isn't just tactical. It's psychological warfare on a global scale. Now, U.S. military doctrine is being rewritten to account for a jet that can destroy, command, and coordinate simultaneously. Combat commands in the Pacific, Europe, and CENTCOM are restructuring squadrons around Reaperhawk capabilities. No longer do they need squadrons of dozens to ensure air superiority. Just a handful of Reaperhawks and their drone wings can neutralize entire regiments. Its new long-range hybrid missile systems, coded Phoenix FX and developed in tandem with DARPA, can hit moving air and ground targets across entire countries, guided not just by radar, but by AI predictive behavior models, tracking patterns, fuel levels, and probable escape vectors. It's warfare dictated by foresight, not reaction. America is no longer responding to threats. It's preemptively rendering them obsolete. But behind the firepower lies the human soul of the machine. The pilot, handpicked from the best of the best, Reaperhawk pilots undergo a new generation of training unlike anything seen before. They are immersed in full-sensory simulation environments powered by neural feedback, designed to blur the line between thought and machine. Their training isn't just physical, it's cognitive. They are taught how to think in four-dimensional battle space, how to predict enemy decisions before they happen, how to manipulate data clouds in real time, and how to trust the AI without ever becoming reliant on it. These are not just war fighters. They are airborne tacticians, modern gladiators of the digital sky. And their oath remains the same: to protect and defend the United States and its allies from all enemies, foreign and domestic. Already, joint patrols featuring Reaperhawk prototypes have begun in Pacific airspace, shadowing Chinese drones, escorting Japanese and Filipino aircraft, and silently watching every move made near the contested Spratly Islands. Chinese jets that once buzzed U.S. assets with bravado now divert course the moment a shadow even hints at Reaperhawk presence. There have been several classified standoffs, intercepts that never made headlines, where Chinese J-20s and J-35s found themselves locked by systems they couldn't detect and tailed by aircraft they couldn't shake. Those pilots returned to base shaken, their mission data full of anomalies, their commanders furious and confused. Beijing is learning the hard way. What you can't see, you can't control. Even the Russian Air Force, though battered and stretched thin, is paying attention. Satellite imagery shows frantic upgrades to radar stations in Kaliningrad and the Kuril Islands. Moscow has increased funding to its lagging 6th-gen program, but insiders admit it's decade behind. The Su-57 and the rumored Su-75 checkmate are no match. One Russian general, speaking anonymously to Western media, confessed, "We don't have anything that can survive 5 minutes against this ghost." That sentiment echoes across Iran, North Korea, and even Venezuela, where authoritarian regimes are suddenly quiet on air power and more focused on internal propaganda to hide their growing fear. Globally, America's allies are realigning their strategies, eager to integrate with this new doctrine. The UK has already requested co-development on derivative platforms for NATO. Australia is expanding its airfields in Darwin and Perth. Israel, with its eyes always fixed on survival, has asked for joint tech-sharing agreements to adapt some of the Reaperhawk systems for defense against regional threats. Even neutral countries are reaching out. Sweden, Switzerland, and Singapore are quietly investing in early-stage compatibility programs. This aircraft has become a beacon of protection, signaling that aligning with the U.S. means inheriting peace through superiority. And at home, the American people are rallying behind their Air Force like never before. Defense expos, flyovers, and unveilings of classified footage are igniting patriotism from coast to coast. Young students are enrolling in ROTC programs in record numbers, inspired by what they see. Freedom with wings. Veterans, many who once feared America had lost its edge, now speak with pride, knowing their sacrifices built the foundation for this new era. The private sector is also thriving, with defense contractors, AI firms, material scientists, and aerospace manufacturers pouring resources into spin-off technologies. Job growth in defense-related sectors is surging. American innovation is back, and it's moving faster than ever. But beyond the politics, power, and performance is a deeper truth. The Reaperhawk isn't just about war. It's about peace through dominance. It's about making sure no nation, no regime, and no enemy force can even think of launching a surprise attack or suppressing a free people without knowing, beyond doubt, that the skies belong to America. It's about showing that while tyrants plot in shadow, freedom will always fly higher, faster, and smarter. And now, as the sun sets on outdated doctrine and the age of dogfights fades into history, a new dawn rises in the roar of afterburners and the silence of invisible wings. A dawn where the United States leads not just in numbers, but in vision. A dawn where America no longer asks permission to secure peace. It enforces it with unmatched precision. The Reaperhawk is airborne. The world is watching. And for those who threaten liberty across land or sea or sky, know this. Your window has closed. The future is flying, and it wears the stars and stripes.